$96.60. Remember that number because that number is the monster that everybody's warning you about. My client just bought a $560,000 house with 10% down instead of 20% down. And the PMI, the mortgage insurance premium, that your uncle, your coworker, every finance guru, your cousin's sister's dog, everybody told you is going to eat you alive, came out at $96.60 per month. Less than most people's actual phone bill, if that doesn't surprise you. And it doesn't even last forever. Now, if the 20% down rule was the reason that you're still renting, I need you to watch every single second of this video. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another deal of the week. If you are new here, my name is Ricardo Carrillo. I run a nationwide mortgage lending team called RC Lending Advisors, where we help clients scale their real estate portfolios, whether we're dealing with your very first house or your 10th property. My team and I are here to walk you through the entire process. The whole point of these videos is for me to be able to show you the real deals with real numbers about real clients and exactly how those are structured so that you can understand what's possible when you actually do real estate investing the right way. Now, let's talk about this 20% rule because it's honestly the single most expensive free advice that lives in America. This is how the story goes. You're told that if you put less than 20% down, the bank punishes you with something called PMI. PMI is private mortgage insurance, and they say that PMI is throwing money away. So the responsible move is to just wait, save more money, keep renting, keep saving until you hit that magic 20% number. Sounds disciplined and it sounds smart. My client bought this home in Indiana for $560,000. 20% down on that house is $112,000. 10% is $56,000. So the question this whole kind of deal comes down to is this. Well, what did it actually cost to get in with $56,000 less in cash? And that answer is $96.60 a month in private mortgage insurance. That was it. That's the thing that people continue to delay their homeownership for half a decade, maybe a couple years longer than that, simply to avoid paying PMI. Now, let's run the other side of the math because this is the part that nobody actually talks about. To avoid that $96 a month, my client would have needed to save an additional $56,000. Now, for a normal household, putting away, let's say maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500 per month after all of their bills, that would actually take 3 to 4 more years of extremely disciplined savings, 3 to 4 more years of also paying rent, which continues to increase every single year. Also, in this client's area, that would probably be close to over $30,000 a year straight into the landlord's pocket. It's also 3 to 4 more years of delaying home prices moving up, of delaying your savings, of also home prices increasing, because a $560,000 house doesn't just continue to wait at $560,000 while people are waiting and while people are saving. At the same time, monthly PMI is going to increase every single year as normal insurance costs increase. And even modest appreciation, let's say some tens of thousands of dollars, is going to be more expensive by the time that you actually have your 20% down saved. And you save this $56,000 to avoid $96 per month. And the house ultimately just got more expensive than the money that you would have saved. That's really the trap. That's what this rule that people talk about actually costs you. And this is also the detail that kills myths like this completely, because PMI on conventional financing like this is not permanent. And it's also priced based off of your credit score. The better credit score you have, the lower the monthly PMI is going to be. Now, on this deal specifically, the PMI was scheduled to drop off once the client hits the equity threshold, which would happen right around year 10 or 11, just with normal payments, not actually accounting for normal appreciation. With normal appreciation, he'll probably be able to remove it within 2 to 3 years. So we're not even talking about paying these $96 forever. We're talking about paying it for a season, maybe a couple years, max 10 years. And even if you calculated that out, it still comes out to be less than the $56,000 he would have had to bring to the table. But I want to make sure that we give you the complete picture with all the numbers, because that's ultimately what's more important here. The purchase price on this deal was at $560,000. Like we said, we did a down payment of 10% down, which was at $56,000. So it left us with a loan of $504,000. Now, we also did this on a 30-year fixed interest rate. Most markets, it doesn't really make sense to do adjustable rates right now. And we ended up doing a 6.75% interest rate as well. Principal and interest came in at $3,200 a month. And then all-in payment with the homeowner's insurance, the monthly PMI, as well as the property taxes, all of it combined came in around $4,430 per month. At the same time, we also have all of our closing costs. Closing costs came in a little bit over $20,000, which brought our total right around $75K, which was essentially the entire deal. Now, I love talking about deals like this because we still see how much more money our client was saving had he put in 20% down plus closing costs. Putting 10% down instead of 20% down does mean, though, that you will have a bigger loan, which also means you're going to have a higher monthly payment. And PMI is the real cost of the loan. I kind of look at it as like the cost of doing business. If you already had 20% sitting in the bank and putting it down on a deal like this, it would actually still leave you with strong reserves. So yes, could you do it? Of course. But most people realize that putting more money into the deal doesn't necessarily make more sense. It's not going to lead to a tremendous amount of cash flow savings. It's not going to lead to a significantly lower monthly payment. And most people are also not in a situation to put, 20, 25%, 30% down on a property. Most people are actually choosing to buy right now, and so that they can buy with a slightly lower down payment instead of having to rent for another, 4 or 5 years to save up that 20%. For most people, the rent that they're actually spending and the appreciation that they're going to miss while they wait, it dramatically offsets the number of what you're actually going to be paying for PMI over the life of the loan when you have PMI. So here's really the real takeaway. This 20% down rule that everybody talks about is not a law. It's something that came from previous generations when they were so used to people doing this. It comes from your parents' housing markets. Really, it's not our housing market. And so before you commit to years of waiting, make sure that you've run these numbers and you have an actual game plan for when you're going to get into your property. For my client, that was $96 a month. And he decided that owning a $560K property today was worth more than just avoiding this phone bill, right? If you want to see what real numbers look like at 10% down versus 20% down, or you want us to structure a deal like this, come up with a game plan, or find properties just like this one, you can go to rclending.co, or you can find me on Instagram as well at Richie the Lender. My team and I work with buyers that come in all shapes and sizes from all parts of the world, and we will help you find a deal anywhere here in the United States plus Puerto Rico, and we can walk you through this whole process from A to Z. Now, I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you have stuck around this long, please let me know in the comments. But if you haven't seen my other Deal of the Week video, you can check those out either here or here. I will see you guys in the next Deal of the Week.